pause for a moment. Imagine this. You're standing in a room full of people, maybe colleagues, maybe friends, maybe even family. The conversation swirls around you. Laughter, stories, plans. But as the night goes on, you notice a pattern. The loudest voices get what they want. The quiet, honest ones get ignored. You try to help, to compromise, to understand. And somehow, it always seems to end with you sacrificing, apologizing, or second-guessing your own intentions. You go home, wondering, why does kindness so often feel like a weakness? Why do manipulative people seem to win, while people who care like me end up hurt? Let's go deeper. Maybe you've read the self-help books, tried setting boundaries, or told yourself you just need to be stronger, but nothing changes. You're not alone. In fact, this is a problem that's haunted good people for centuries. And today, we're going to face it head-on with a surprising guide, Niccolò Machiavelli. Wait, isn't Machiavelli the poster boy for cynicism? Isn't The Prince a handbook for ruthless power? Why would we turn to him for help? Because Machiavelli saw something most of us miss, that being too good without strength, clarity, or cunning makes you a target. But he also believed that anyone, even the most honest soul, could learn to protect themselves without losing their core values. In this video, you'll learn why manipulators target good people, the hidden weaknesses of kindness, how to develop virtue, that is, realistic self-mastery without becoming cold or cruel, and, most importantly, how to walk through this world with your heart intact, but your eyes wide open. If you've ever wondered, how can I be kind and strong, this is your video. Let's step into Machiavelli's dark mirror together. Let's start by naming the pain. Why do honest, caring people so often get manipulated, overlooked, or even betrayed? Why is it that the very qualities we're taught to value, kindness, generosity, trust, sometimes become the reasons we suffer? Machiavelli understood something that most modern advice ignores. In The Prince, he warns, a man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. In other words, the world isn't a level playing field. Not everyone values honesty, and some will use your best intentions against you. But let's break that down. In simple terms, if you believe that being good guarantees fair treatment, you're not just naive, you're at risk. Why? Because there are people, consciously or not, who instinctively test others for boundaries. And if your boundaries are soft, you become their opportunity. Think about your own life. Have you ever agreed to something you didn't want to do, just to avoid disappointing someone? Have you ever found yourself covering for a manipulator at work, or making excuses for a toxic friend or partner? Maybe you've told yourself, if I just give more, if I'm just more understanding, they'll change. But they don't. Instead, your kindness becomes a currency they spend, and you're left depleted. Machiavelli calls this the trap of goodness. And it's not your fault. It's human nature to want to belong, to be loved, to avoid conflict. But in a world where not everyone shares your values, this creates a blind spot. So, what does this mean for you? It means that to protect your goodness, you must first see its potential weakness. Being good without strength isn't virtue, it's vulnerability. That's not a condemnation, it's an invitation to grow. Ask yourself, where have I let my desire to be good override my need to be strong? Where am I giving, not out of choice, but out of fear or habit? This is where your transformation begins, not by abandoning kindness, but by making it conscious, intentional, and protected. If the trap of goodness is passivity, what's the way out? Here's where Machiavelli's most famous metaphor comes in The Lion and the Fox. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes, "A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. In plain English, you need both courage and cunning. The lion symbolizes strength, the power to stand your ground, to assert yourself, to say no. The fox represents wisdom, the ability to see through deception, to spot manipulation, to choose your battles." But let's be honest, most of us favor one side. Maybe you're naturally the lion, good at drawing lines, but sometimes too rigid or intimidating. Or maybe you're the fox, skilled at reading people, but reluctant to confront or push back. For many kind souls, the problem is being neither lion nor fox, just hoping for the best, and getting eaten by wolves. So, what does Machiavelli suggest? He isn't telling you to become cold, cunning, or predatory. Instead, he's asking, can you learn from both? Can you develop the strength to protect yourself and the insight to avoid traps? Let's bring this to real life. Picture a workplace where someone takes credit for your ideas. If you confront them head-on, lion, you risk backlash. If you quietly let it slide, no lion, no fox, you lose both dignity and influence. But if you document your contributions, fox, then calmly address the issue when the time is right. Lion, you combine both strengths. Or in relationships, maybe you have a friend who always borrows money and never pays it back. The all-lion response is to explode in anger. The no-lion, no-fox response is to say nothing and resent it. The Machiavellian response. Ask yourself, what's the game here? What does this person respond to? Then set clear boundaries politely, but firmly. You don't stop being generous, but you stop being a target. How could you use this insight in your own journey? Look for situations where you can practice both the lion and the fox. Next time you sense someone is trying to manipulate you, pause. Ask what's really happening here. Do I need to be brave, or do I need to be clever, or both? You don't have to choose between kindness and strength. You can be both when you learn how to see. So far, we've seen how goodness can become a trap, and how Machiavelli's lion and fox can guide us to a new kind of self-protection. But there's another force at work, one even more mysterious and more dangerous: Fortuna. Let's face another brutal truth: the world is unpredictable. Machiavelli called this Fortuna, fortune, chance, chaos. No matter how good you are or how careful, things can and will go wrong. People will disappoint you. Systems will change. The rules will shift. But here's the twist: Machiavelli did not say you are powerless. On the contrary, he argued that your greatest strength is your ability to respond, not just react to fortune's blows. Virtù, Machiavelli's word for a special kind of strength, not just virtue or morality, but the courage, adaptability, and skill to shape your own fate, even when life is unfair. Virtù, in Machiavellian terms, means more than virtue in the modern sense. It's not just moral goodness, it's your capacity to act, adapt, and shape your destiny. It's a kind of active resilience. Let's make it simple. Imagine you're a sailor on a stormy sea. Fortuna is the wind and the waves beyond your control. But virtù is your skill as a sailor, your ability to read the sky, trim the sails, and steer the ship. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you respond to it. Why does this matter to you right now? Because when you get manipulated, hurt, or blindsided by life, it's tempting to blame yourself or give up. But Machiavelli would say, don't surrender your power. Cultivate your virtù. That means developing skills, self-awareness, assertiveness, emotional intelligence that let you adapt, survive, and even thrive in chaos. Try this. The next time something unfair happens to you, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I adapt what's within my control?" Let's pause and reflect. Machiavelli's message is not one of cynicism, but of radical empowerment. Yes, the world is full of wolves, storms, and traps. But you have the capacity to become both lion and fox, to steer your ship through the storm. The challenge isn't to become ruthless, it's to become awake. Let's dig deeper with a story, a composite, but drawn from real experience. Meet Chloe. She's always been the nice one at work. She listens, helps, and covers for her teammates when deadlines loom. One day, her boss gives her a project that should have gone to someone else, but Chloe doesn't complain. Weeks later, she finds herself burned out, ignored for promotion, and even blamed for mistakes she didn't make. Sound familiar? Chloe isn't weak. She's just trapped by her own goodness. Now, imagine Chloe discovers Machiavelli not as a villain, but as a mentor. She reads about the lion and the fox. She starts small, documenting her work, asking direct questions, setting limits on what she'll tolerate. She notices who in her environment respects boundaries and who exploits them. When her boss tries to dump extra work, she says, "I'm at capacity right now. What would you like me to deprioritize?" When a coworker tries to shift blame, she calmly presents the facts. For the first time, Chloe feels something new, not cynicism, not hardness, but clarity. She still cares, still helps, but no longer at her own expense. What about you? Maybe your story is different. Maybe you're the eldest sibling, always holding your family together, or the friend everyone comes to for advice, but who never gets support in return, or the artist who gives and gives, only to be overlooked. What if, like Chloe, you started to see your kindness as something to be protected, not exploited? What if you could stay open-hearted but never blind? What would change in your life? You can't control every storm. You can't change other people, but you can become the kind of person who cannot be easily manipulated because you see, you choose, and you act with both heart and backbone. Let's pull back and see the bigger picture. The battle between manipulation and kindness isn't just your private struggle, it's a defining challenge of our age. We live in a world of social media, marketing, and endless performance. It's never been easier for manipulators to thrive or for sensitive souls to feel overwhelmed. We're told to be ourselves, but also to fit in, to please, to succeed. It's confusing, exhausting, and sometimes soul-crushing. But Machiavelli's lesson is timeless power isn't just for the ruthless. It's for anyone who dares to wake up, to see the game without becoming a player, to care deeply, but also to defend yourself fiercely. You're not here to become a manipulator. You're here to become unmanipulatable. That means learning to say no without guilt, to trust your own judgment, to act even when you're scared. It means asking every day, what would a lion do? What would a fox see? And maybe most importantly, it means refusing to see your kindness as a flaw. Instead, treat it as your most precious resource, a resource worth protecting, nurturing, and offering wisely. As Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." In other words, your value doesn't come from what others think or demand. It comes from your own integrity, awareness, and courage. Let's recap what we've explored together. First, we faced the painful truth. Goodness alone can be a trap if it's not coupled with strength and clarity. Second, we learned the wisdom of the lion and the fox, that you can be brave and wise, kind and assertive. Third, we explored virtù and fortuna. Life is unpredictable, but you have the power to choose your response, to grow your skill, and to shape your fate. Fourth, we looked at real-life stories like Chloe's and maybe your own. We saw how transformation is possible, not by rejecting who you are, but by expanding it. Here's your most important takeaway. Kindness is only true strength when it is chosen, protected, and expressed from a place of awareness. You are allowed, no, required to defend your boundaries, to value your own time and energy, to say no when needed. 2 practical tools to carry forward. Pause and observe. Next time you sense manipulation, don't react. Pause. Ask what's really happening. What do I need to see? Practice courage in small ways. Pick one situation this week where you can assert yourself, kindly but firmly. Remember, you are not being cruel, you are being clear. The journey won't be easy. Some people won't like the new you, but that's not your problem to fix. As you grow in virtù, you'll discover a deeper confidence, a quiet power that no one can take from you. You were not born to be prey. You were born to walk through this world awake, strong, and alive. Machiavelli's dark mirror doesn't turn you into a cynic. It wakes you up to your own power. So, are you ready? Are you willing to see yourself not as a victim, but as a creator of your life? Start today. Stand up. Speak clearly. Choose wisely. Let the world feel the presence of a good person who cannot be manipulated. Share in the comments. What's one small action you'll take this week to protect your kindness with strength? How will you combine the lion and the fox in your own life? Don't forget to subscribe for more deep, practical insights into psychology and philosophy. Your journey matters, don't walk it alone. And stay tuned, the next video will dive even deeper into how to build resilience, confidence, and self-respect in a confusing world. You've got this. We're in it together. The ideas explored in this video are for philosophical and psychological exploration and are not intended as professional advice. Viewers are encouraged to engage in their own critical thinking and further research, and to consult with qualified professionals for personal concerns.